Hello, everyone, and welcome to Self PubCon. I'm not sure if you've seen our opening. I was there a short while ago with Mr. Tim Lewis, and we are here again. Hi, Tim. So we have spent a lot of time over the last little while compiling a list of the top 100 tools and tech for indie authors for this, our Self PubCon, because that's our theme for this conference. It's all about the technology, the tools, technology and the techniques, but the actual tools that can really help us in terms of shortcutting our process, making things cheaper, making things faster, making things easier. And I know that some of us are a bit scared of tech. Hands up. But every single one of these tools on this list, it's worth putting the time and effort in to get to know them, because you get so much more. So they don't take time, they make time. So they really do come very highly recommended. And we were just saying before we came on, Tim, you were just saying to me that there were tools on this list. So what we did to compile the list was we put a call out to our team advisors and then to our members on the member forum and asked them to come up with their top 3 tools and why. And I found tools there that I hadn't heard of. And I was surprised when you said, when we were talking in the pre-chat, you found tools that you hadn't heard of, because I think of you as Mr. Tech, and you know it all. But yeah.
I mean, it was like I was just looking at some of them. There's one called the Noun Project, which actually is a search engine for sort of icons and graphics and things. I mean, there's lots of picture search places out there with free photos, but it's got these amazing icons, and most of them are free to use or Creative Commons license.
That is brilliant. I was also struck by that. That was nominated by Sarah Begley, and I wasn't aware of it. And what I loved about it as well as really stunning imagery, was that they have this kind of diversity mission, and inclusivity mission. So they're trying to actually have a visual look that is much more inclusive and diverse than what we're getting in a lot of the, particularly the stock picture places can be, very white, very straight, very middle of the road, very bland kind of thing. So I was struck by that one as well, and I had never heard of them. So that was a great one. Anything else that stood out for you?
Well, there was quite a few of the editing ones, so like AutoCrit, and I'm trying to think. There's a few, even like Fictionary, and there was a planning one which I think you mentioned before, which Plotter app, and all of these they're just like really good for the pre-writing stage and the sort of planning. And I had no idea that I mean, I knew that there were tools like that, but the trouble is, I know you were saying that tools can save time, but what I've been in lockdown, I've been trying to make myself more productive and using tools to do more stuff. But one thing that you have to be aware of is you have to put the time in at the beginning to understand and to use a tool. And that some tools are very, very easy to pick up, like Canva, for example. Canva is the most easy tool to pick up, and even like StreamYard, which is what we're using to stream this, at least in the basic sense, they're very easy to use. But I did happen to teach somebody how to put up the little icon up in the corner.
Just today I learned how to do that logo that you're seeing, and that little ticker tape that's running across the bottom. I just learned how to do that with Tim there.
And as you can see, we've got our first comment from Sasha, where it says,
"Oh, fantastic!"
And if you click on that, you can bring it up on the screen if you didn't know that already. Here we go.
Fantastic. You nominated StreamYard, which we're using to put this out, and it really is a wonderful tool. I want to give a really big shout out. We use it now every week, at least once a week, for our podcast. So we pre-record the podcast here as a live stream on StreamYard. It sends the live stream out to YouTube, to Periscope on Twitter. into our author forum and onto our main Facebook page. And since we started using StreamYard, I think engagement has gone up at least 3 times compared to what we were using before. And I think just picking up on the point that you just made there a minute ago about things taking time at the beginning to know and learn them. I mean, I think that's true of every single tool. But what we have done with the choices that we've kind of made here is we've chosen tools that are worth that time investment. So, and I think that's what puts people off a lot. If you don't know in advance how long it's going to take you to kind of get to grips with it, and you don't know if it's worth it, and so you tend to maybe not go there. So we definitely would recommend that people go there.
One tool that people have used and has a steep learning curve is Scrivener. But I think Scrivener is one that's worth doing. Going through the whole tutorial that comes with it, which goes through all the functionality of it, is a good app to use. Though, as we've seen on this list, there were a lot of competitive products now for writing apps. I mean, Readsy's book editor, which is kind of, I think it's still called Readsy's book editor. It's a confusing name because it's actually a text editor that they have for creating documents on the Readsy site. I think Readsy are a partner member, and they basically are a marketplace for services, but they have basically an editor on their site that allows you to create books online, almost like a Google Doc sort of thing, but with a bit more functionality. So Scrivener has competition, but I think it's still, if you're prepared to put the time in and you're kind of towards a more technical bent, to be honest, the Scrivener's worth looking at.
Yeah, I definitely love Scrivener, but it took me ages because, as I said, I'm not terribly technical. I did use it in a very basic way at the beginning. You can just use it just to do your text. And when it came out first, it was kind of revolutionary because we had all been using Microsoft Word up to that, and not having to scroll up and down 600 pages. I have written 600-page books, was actually very welcome. So I absolutely loved it. And I'm really, a huge fan of Scrivener app now, but it did take me a long time to get to grips with it. So just a few words, folks, about how this post is organized. So what we're having a chat about some of the tools that have kind of struck us. We've split the 100 tools into 2 sets of 50. So in this session, we're talking about tools for the earlier part of the process. So writing, editing, design, production, and distribution tools. So everything to do with making your book and getting it out there. And then later on in the conference, and the time just escapes me at the moment, but kind of in about 12 hours time, we're doing the second half, and they are the tools for marketing, promotion, rights licensing, business organization, and then sort of miscellaneous tools that we couldn't slot into any of those 7 categories. So what we've also done, and really would like to encourage you to take part in this, we have listed the tools as tweets underneath the video here. You'll find them. And we'd really love if you have used a tool and you found it useful for you, this is your opportunity to tweet it out there, let people know that you do appreciate it. A lot of these service providers, so they're the kind of, they're there in the background, the authors are out front and producing the great work as a result of the tools, but the services don't always get the credit that they're due. So this is an opportunity to pay some credit. And if you love the tool, share the love, let people know about it as well. Let other authors know about it, because of that thing that we were just talking about. If we know a tool, we can think everybody knows about it, but actually, because we're all working in our little silos now, it's not necessarily so.
Yeah, I mean, it's, as I say, there were kind of 3 stages, I think, with a tool. The first stage is usually you're totally in confusion. Then you learn all the features and you learn all functionality. But then there's a third stage, which actually can take a long time. It's working out how to use that tool for you, and also using it in combination with other tools. So one of the tools I think I nominated was a tool called Phrase Express that nobody seems to have heard of. which I found quite by accident, Googling, trying to find some other text expander software. And what that does is it expands text. So you type a short bit of text in. So it's tremendously useful for me in the easiest sense in like Twitter, for the Twitter chat, because I have to put hashtag in the author chat, but I've got hashtag IAC and it will expand it to that. But it can do so much more than that. It can look up data in spreadsheets and all sorts of other things. So a lot of what I'm doing with it at the moment is working out how I can incorporate that into other applications, because it's a tool, text expansion tool. And sometimes you can use these tools together and you can link them up. So you always need this kind of little bit of margin time where you can work out how to use things, because you kind of need to spend the time to save time later on with tools. That's, I mean, I think with any kind of time management, you want to be getting to the situation where you have a bit of time margin. Ideally, a bit of income margin as well, doing all this thing. And yeah, I mean, that's the great thing about tools. You need to, they can make you just so much more productive, just cutting the time down to do regular tasks. And sometimes it lets you, I mean, the best tools are ones that let you do something you couldn't do at all yourself. But a lot of the good tools are ones where they just save you time, and you need to put in time to learn the tool at the beginning to really save the time later on. That makes sense.
It totally does. One that jumps into my mind as you're talking is BookBrush, which I know a lot of authors use either in conjunction with Canva or maybe have moved across to. I started to use BookBrush myself there a little while ago, and there's lots there, and they're introducing lots more all the time. But while, you know, making ads and other kind of visuals, I do work with a graphic designer where possible, but really as authors now we've to produce so many images that it's actually working with a designer for everything isn't practical any longer. So you can get your graphic designer to do nice basic stuff, and then you can build and work around that on BookBrush really well. And they're also putting in a cover creator soon if they haven't done that already. And so what I found with it was that what I was doing in Canva, I could do in BookBrush more quickly. So it's not that it's doing something that Canva can't do, but it's that it's designed very much with authors in mind. It's all about book covers and making your book look attractive in ads. And, you know, they really understand the author mind and the author mentality. So it took me a little while, the time cost you're talking about, but it has saved a lot of time already. Yeah, I can really recommend that one.
Yeah, I'm seeing in the comments we've got a viewer from Sydney and we've got a viewer from Romania.
Hello, everyone. This is what I love about SelfPubCon, is that people come in literally from all over the world. So hi, Mala. Yes, a long-term member and very engaged member. Hi there, and Maria too. You're very welcome. I hope you're ready to sit in for 24 hours.
Not just us for 24 hours.
Not just us, oh dear, no. Perish the thought. So anything else to say about tools before we leave people to search through the 50 tools for writing, editing and production?
Well, I thought it was interesting that Debbie Young put a Parker pen as a tool, which means that, yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Tools don't have to just be like electronic or computer programs and things. Tools are often just physical things or implements. So, yeah, Debbie keeping it real while we're in the high-tech world.
Yeah, it's interesting. She's also a big proponent of touch typing. It drives her crazy when she sees people tapping with 2 fingers, because she taught herself to touch type. And but yeah, a while ago, I think a lot of us are suffering from RSI, you know, gammy wrists and fingers, and just from too much sitting and too much typing. And people are tending to go 2 ways with that. And one is to go into voice and use the speech to text, which is kind of my favorite way. That's the way I've gone with things. But Debbie has gone analog and paper and pen, but actually I think we all use paper and pen, even no matter what other tool you use. I think every writer, as I'm big into free writing, and I have to do that by hand. And there's nothing quite like a pen and paper in terms of when you've really got to dig into something on the creative side. So yeah, that was an interesting one. Yeah, and Debbie also had another interesting one, which just has gone out of my head now. But yeah, well worth looking at hers. And I think this is what we see here in this list of tools, the whole 100, is the sort of power of the hive mind. There were certain tools that got recommended by everybody, but then there were the standout ones that nobody else had heard of except that person, and bringing all of that together into a list of 100 seemed like a very worthwhile thing to do. So hopefully, folks, you will find tools in there that you don't know about and you will investigate them. Hopefully, you will find tools that you do know about, already know and love, and you will tweet the love, as we said. And we will be back in a while to talk about the other 50 tools, which is at the far end of things, the marketing, promotion, and the business organization. So until then, have a fabulous time. And we have another great session for you at the top of the hour and at the top of every hour for the next 24 hours. We'll be over on Twitter, and so do join us there. Tim is here. He's our Twitter meister, and
What is the hashtag they should be using?
Yes, I was just about to say it. It's hashtag selfpubcon. So just keeping it simple. So yeah, join us there on that. You can use it to recommend a tool, but also if you have a question about any session, the speakers will also be available on Twitter during the day, and we'll be live tweeting what's going on. So it's a good place to catch up and be part of the buzz. Often with SelfPubCon, we trend on Twitter, so let's see if we can do that today as well.
Feel free to take a picture of your screen, and if you have a session that you particularly like, and then use hashtag SelfPubCon and show us what you're really into and what you're really getting benefit from.
So, that's a great idea.
Yeah, well, it's just because otherwise you look at the SelfPubCon, it's just like text. It'd be nice to have some pictures in there, or even video if you're feeling very excited.
Yeah,
but not the whole. Don't put the whole sessions on. We don't want to there is like a reasonable a minute or so is probably the most of a video.
Yeah, that'd be great though. It would be lovely to see people sharing, if there are standout lines or ideas or concepts that are working for you. It would be fantastic to have those shared. And yeah, if you have questions, if there's something not working or you can't get access, or you're having any problems, you can use Twitter, or you can email us info@allianceindependentauthors.org, and we will pick up there and sort your problem. So yeah, have a great time and talk to you soon.
Talk to you later.